although the Phoenix Suns just beat the Clippers, this L that the Clippers just took tells us a lot about this Clippers organization and the players going forward. And there is one player on the Clippers roster that made a statement and went toe-to-toe with Devin Booker, and this is Norman Powell. Norman Powell scored 42 points, and in today's video, we'll be looking at how Norman Powell almost single-handedly came back to beat the Suns without Kawhi and Paul George. We'll be analyzing this by looking at his amazing isolation basketball, his ability to move off the ball, and his ability to slash at the net and have some crazy dunks. Before we get into today's video, I noticed that more than 90% of you guys are not subscribed. So what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you smash that like button. But enough me talking, let's get right onto the first aspect that makes Norman Powell a secret weapon for the Clippers, and this is his ability to play isolation basketball. Most people think that Norman Powell is a catch and shoot player, but he proved everybody wrong, and he did exactly what he was supposed to do, which was man that small forward position because Kawhi Leonard was not there. And to help further understand Norman Powell's isolation ability, let's break down some film and see how he got these buckets to go. On this play, Norman Powell has to get through Devin Booker, so he hits Devin Booker with a crossover. He goes through his legs and acts like Devin Booker hit him by putting his head back, and that gives him enough room to go by and hit a very contested floater and get the bucket. And on the second play, Norman Powell's taking the ball down in transition. He pulls the ball back to get some more isolation room, and this room gives him the ability to draw a foul on Torrey Craig and hit an and-one three-point shot. Some players in the league would rush shots, but Norman Powell takes his time and he goes back if it feels like he needs more room. And if we look back at the clip, if Norman Powell drove the first time, he would have been getting triple teamed by Torrey Craig, Okogie, and Chris Paul. Now let's break down Norman Powell's specialty, and this is his ability to move off the ball. This skill of Norman Powell gave him the ability to knock down 7 big three-point shots that almost put the Clippers over the edge. To help better understand Norman Powell's off-ball movement, let's break down some film. On this play, Norman Powell is getting a screen by Zubac, but instead of going to that left wing and taking a three-point shot, Powell instead cuts right at the paint and gets himself a wide open layup. And instead of Kevin Durant helping on Norman Powell, I think Kevin Durant was too worried about Rihanna again. And on the second play, Norman Powell gets off a screen and sets a screen on Chris Paul to get Chris Paul in the paint. And once Chris Paul's in the paint, that gives Mason Plumlee the ability to set Norman Powell a pick, so Powell gets a wide open three-pointer. These are the tiny details that us basketball fans do not realize, but this sport is so technical. Now let's move on to the third factor that makes Norman Powell so dangerous, and this is his ability to get at the rim with ease. And let me tell you that Norman Powell's footwork is elite. On this first play, Norman Powell gets the ball in the corner. He swiftly gets by Damian Lee, and once Powell goes at the rim, he does a Euro step to get by Biyombo's big body and hits him with a nice floater. And on the second play, Norman Powell is coming off a screen and he realizes that he has a weaker Booker on him, so Norman Powell uses a power move and hits Booker with a dribble two-step gather, and this simple move gave Norman Powell the ability to have just enough of an open window to hit a floater. And on this final play, it looks very simple, but Powell wraps his hand around Torrey Craig, and this gives him the ability to just sprint off his right foot and get at the rim for an easy layup. This amazing 42-point performance by Norman Powell is a big statement, as I think when Kawhi Leonard comes back, and if Norman Powell can produce at this level, they're going to have no problems without Paul George. And this could also result in an uptick of Norman Powell's minutes, as Coach Ty Lue would trust him a little bit more. But let me know what you guys think about Norman Powell. Do you think that he deserves more minutes on this Clipper squad, or do you think that he's good staying at the 18-minute range? But if you want more content like this, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button to stay up to date, and if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit that like button, as one like is one prayer that Kevin Durant gets a date with Rihanna. But that's been all for your boy Mubsy Hoops. I will catch you guys in the next video.